Hello and welcome to the Tavern Chat podcast. I am your host, your bartender in the OSR, Eric Tenkar. This is Tavern Chat. So, yesterday I talked about running convention games, and Joe the Lawyer of Joe the Lawyer's Wondrous Imaginings, good podcast to listen to, especially if you like to hear somebody ramble on like me, but with a little bit different perspective. Joe is going to be at ShireCon. He's going to be in the game with me, but he's also going to be in the game with his brother. His brother has pretty much only experienced Joe as his DM over all these years. So, Joe has a question.
Hey man, Joe the Lawyer here. I was listening to your podcast this morning about how to run a game convention game. All good advice. You said your game was full, and two of those 8 players are me and my brother. Now, my brother has never been to a game convention. He's never played under any game convention sort of rules or standards or different style. In fact, 99% of all his gaming was done as me as a DM. I think it's a little bit under a buddy of ours, but pretty much that's it. So it's going to be all kinds of new to him. Any advice for not just him in your game, but new gamers or new game convention goers who were never really played in before, or new game convention patrons who aren't necessarily even going to play in the game, but what to expect and things like that. I figure it might be a good topic for a follow-up podcast for you. Anyway, later, man.
So, Joe, actually, that's excellent feedback, and you're right. Because you know what? Not only does the DM have a responsibility to make sure that his players have fun, but the players have a responsibility that the table has fun. That means not only they have a good time, but the table has a good time, the GM has a good time. Great players that are having a good time, make my job so much easier. So much easier. So, what are some things to realize as a player? One, you may not know the rule system all that well. If you know the system that you're going to be playing in, familiarize yourself with it before the game. You don't have to be an expert. Okay, but at least know enough about it to know what kind of dice you're rolling and stuff like that. Now, that doesn't necessarily apply to something like Swords and Wizardry Light, which I'll be running, because I spend 10 minutes going over the rules, passing out the rules, and creating characters with the players. Yeah, it's pretty easy, right? Think about that. So, but if you're going to be playing in a game like, I don't know, Rollmaster or 5e, have some familiarity with the rules, especially if the game is not being advertised for novices. Some games will say, new players welcome, and that's fine. But don't jump into, I don't know, a D&D 5th edition game with 9th level characters and not own the rule book or know the rules. You're not going to have a good time, and you're going to probably hurt the good time of the other players at your table. Okay? I know that sucks. So, now, I had the experience one time of being told, I don't know, at 3 o'clock at GaryCon, that I was running Rapid Athic, Mouth of Doom. I was like, all right, that's fine, I've run that. And I was running it for 5th edition players because the 5 EGM got weathered out. That was not this past year, the year before. So I get to the table with copies of Swords and Wizardry Light. I don't even have a copy of the 5e rules in my hand because I'm honest, I don't know 5e. And I got to the table and I told my players what the situation was. I got a full table of 8. What the situation was, this is the problem. I go, if you want me to run it with 5e, I can stumble through it and you're going to be answering all the rules questions because I won't fucking know them. Or We play it with Swords and Wizardry Light, realize that it's just another version of D&D. It's pretty close to it, a lot simpler, and I can teach the rules in 10 minutes, and we get up and go. 8 players, 1 bout out. No harm, no foul. If he's not comfortable with it, that's great. Had a walk-in, so we go back to 8. Took a break, went down to 7. Somebody just left. That's kind of rude. If you're not going to come back, and this is just general, if your GM up and left in the middle of the game and never came back, you'd be fucking pissed, right? If one of your players just walks off, I should say, listen, great time, but I got to go. Again, no harm, no foul. That's fine. So if you're a player, you're not enjoying the game, don't just, wander off and not come back. That's rude. But in the end, my players had a great time. 4 of them went back to the Frog God table to check out the rules. That's a win-win, right? That was me as a GM hoping to get some investment back from my players because we were both dealt a deck. No, we were both dealt, or both sides were dealt cards that we really didn't have a winning hand with unless we worked with each other. They worked with me, and I thank them profusely, even to this day. As a player, keep your phone to the side. And I should do that when it comes to my own personal phone, as you all heard. But keep your phone to the side, all right? Or if you have to pick it up, if you got a phone call coming in or something like that, walk off, I'll be right back, walk away from the table. Be polite to your fellow players. Be polite to your game master. Okay? It's little things, they go far. Bring your own dice. Nobody likes somebody who has to borrow fucking dice. I will often bring extra sets of dice just because I don't want to see people trying to borrow dice all the time. Bring your own. If you're going to be a role player, what do you own as a role player? You come to the table with what? Scrap paper. Always scrap paper. It doesn't be graph paper. A little bit of scrap paper, a pen or a pencil, and dice. That's what you need as a player when you come to a table. Now, you might need a rule book. You might not. You know the game better than I do, the game that you're going to be playing, and you know what you know. If it's 5e, you're going to need a rule book. If it's AD&D, you're going to need a rule book. If it's Swords and Wizardry Light, we hand them out there. So keep that in mind. Because remember, this is a group experience. And for everybody to come out of it feeling had a good experience, everybody should be invested, not just in their own fun, but in the fun for others. Don't cheat with your dice. I know I'm saying this and you're like, why would you bring this up? Because I've experienced this both from teenagers and from, quote, I'm putting quotation marks in the air right now, adults who never missed in combat, never rolled less than 1 point, less than maximum damage, and it's not my job as a GM to call you out and say you're cheating. It's my job to make sure the table has fun. So I'm going to tell you right now, if I think you are cheating, you may hit the creature for maximum damage every fucking time you hit, but that damage is never going to make it to my sheet. Ever. I'm not even going to give you the benefit of the doubt of rolls that you probably made if I think you're cheating. But I will not call you out at the table because that's not fun for everybody. But everybody else knows that you're cheating. Trust me. So don't do it. Have fun. Sometimes the most fun I've had is when my character couldn't do jack shit and the dice were against me. Doesn't make a difference. Okay? Try not to get sidelined. Try not to. It's one thing if you're in a campaign, you guys are always playing at your friend Phil's house, and you guys, you bited a crumb that really was going nowhere, but now the GM is improvising and making a whole new arc of the campaign for that crumb that was insignificant, but you've made it significant. Fine. Try to avoid that at a convention game. You got limited time. Okay? The GM is not looking to improvise half the adventure with you. He's got something in front of him who wants to get accomplished, and they expect to get accomplished. And your fellow players expect to get it accomplished. So don't go too far off the beaten path. I hate to say it like that. I'm not saying accept the railroad, but at the same time, I'm saying don't give a fuck you to the adventure that's written. It's just not fun for people. But the most important part is have fun. Interact with others at the table. 'Cause remember, you're there to be part of a group. You are a group, right? So interact with it. You might make some friends. Might make some friends that last over conventions, or maybe you'll exchange some information and become Facebook friends or whatever. But embrace that. Embrace the fact that you're meeting new people and re-meeting people that you haven't seen in a while. That's really part of the fun. That's part of the experience. Be open to it. Even those of us that are shy. And if you knew me as a kid in elementary school, I was a shy fuck. You might not believe it now, but I was. But embrace it. Okay? Embrace the fact that you're part of this group and be part of the group. All right, folks. On that note, I'm sure I could ramble on much longer than this, but I think I've covered the high points. So on that note, as always, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice. And I will talk with you all tomorrow. Later, folks.